What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, there's an object moving through space that's getting closer to Earth every single day? And the latest data from NASA shows it's approaching far faster than anyone predicted? Not an asteroid we've tracked for decades, not a comet on a predictable orbit. Something else. Something that appeared suddenly in our telescopes 9 months ago and has been defying every calculation ever since. In March 2025, astronomers detected an object designated 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor to our solar system. At first, it seemed unremarkable. Another space rock passing through. Another cosmic wanderer that would fly by and disappear forever. But then, the data started coming in, and nothing made sense. The object was slowing down, not gradually, like you'd expect from solar gravity, dramatically, deliberately, like it was braking. May 2025 observations showed it had changed course. Not by much, just 0.8 degrees. But orbital mechanics doesn't allow random course changes. Objects in space follow predictable paths determined by gravity and momentum, unless something pushes them, unless something is controlling them. By July, NASA's Deep Space Network confirmed what everyone feared, but nobody wanted to say publicly. 3I Atlas isn't following natural laws. It's maneuvering, making precise adjustments, using propulsion that leaves no visible signature. Technology, and here's what has astronomers terrified. The newest data released, October 15, 2025, shows 3I Atlas is now 127 million kilometers from Earth. That's closer than Mars, and it's still approaching. Current trajectory projects closest approach at 22 million kilometers. That's January 14, 2026. Less than 3 months from now. The European Space Agency held an emergency briefing yesterday. Classified. But 3 words leaked through unofficial channels, and they're spreading through the astronomical community like wildfire. Brace for contact. If you want to understand what's heading toward us, what it might mean, and why the silence from government agencies is more terrifying than any announcement they could make, you need to hear this, every word, because time is running out, and the object that shouldn't exist is getting closer every single day. September 14, 2024. The Atlas Survey Telescope in Hawaii was doing what it does every clear night, scanning the sky for asteroids that might threaten Earth. Automated process. Cameras capturing images, software comparing them to previous nights, flagging anything that moved. At 3:47 a.m. local time, the system detected something, moving fast, really fast, about 31 kilometers per second relative to the Sun. That's 70,000 miles per hour. Fast enough to cross the distance from Earth to the Moon in 3 hours. Dr. Robert Weryk, the astronomer who discovered Oumuamua back in 2017, was on duty. He checked the preliminary trajectory. Hyperbolic. That meant the object wasn't bound to the Sun. It was passing through. An interstellar visitor, only the third one ever confirmed. Oumuamua in 2017. Comet Borisov in 2019. And now this. 3I Atlas Weryk initiated the Discovery Protocol, sent alerts to telescopes worldwide. Within hours, observatories in Chile, South Africa, Australia, Spain, all turned their instruments toward the coordinates, capturing as much data as possible while the object remained visible. The first week of observations seemed normal. The object was faint, magnitude 21, far too dim for amateur telescopes. But professional instruments could track it. Spectroscopy revealed the surface composition. Rocky, carbonaceous, dark, low reflectivity, typical for interstellar objects. Size estimates put it at roughly 400 meters long, football field-sized, elongated shape. Aspect ratio about 6:1, like Oumuamua, cigar-shaped or cylindrical, rotating with a period of 8.8. 2 hours, everything normal. Everything expected. Just another interstellar rock. Then came the velocity measurements. Dr. Davide Farnochia at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory specializes in orbit determination. His job is calculating precisely where objects are and where they're going. He's tracked thousands of asteroids and comets. He knows what normal looks like. I-Atlas wasn't normal. The velocity was wrong. Too slow. Interstellar objects should be moving at roughly the local standard of rest, about 26 kilometers per second relative to the Sun. That's the average velocity of stars in our galactic neighborhood. Objects ejected from nearby star systems naturally move at these speeds. Oumuamua moved at 26.3 kilometers, close to expected. Borisov was faster, 32 kilometers, but that made sense coming from a higher velocity star system. I-Atlas started at 31 kilometers, reasonable. But 3 weeks into observations, Farnochia noticed something disturbing. The velocity was decreasing, not from gravity. Gravity would speed it up as it approached the Sun. The object was slowing down actively, decelerating. By mid-October 2024, it was down to 29.48 says. By early November, 27.8 kilometers says. By late November, 26.1 Saturday. Quadris, a steady, continuous deceleration of about 0.3 millimeters per second squared. That doesn't sound like much, but it's measurable, significant, and it requires force. Something was pushing against the object's motion. Something was breaking it. Farnochia checked for natural explanations. Comets decelerate when they outgas. When solar heating vaporizes ice, the escaping gas creates thrust opposite to the Sun, slowing the comet down. That's normal, expected, but 3I-Atlas showed no signs of outgassing. No coma, the cloud of gas and dust around active comets. No tail, no brightening, just a dark, inert rock steadily slowing down. Dr. Michelle Bannister at the University of Canterbury reviewed the data. She'd spent years studying outer solar system objects, understood their orbital mechanics intimately. This violated everything she knew. The deceleration was too precise, too sustained, too controlled. Natural outgassing is chaotic, varies with solar heating, changes as different surface areas face the Sun, fluctuates unpredictably. This was smooth, constant, engineered. By December 2024, the astronomical community was quietly alarmed. Papers were being written, models were being tested, but nobody wanted to be the first to say publicly what the data suggested. Then came Christmas. Eve, December 24, 2024, 3I-Atlas did something that changed everything. The object changed course. Not by much, just 0.4 degrees. But Dr. Farnochia's orbit determination showed it clearly. The trajectory had shifted. The object was no longer following the path. Gravity and initial velocity dictated. It had maneuvered, made a course correction. Like a spacecraft performing a mid-course burn, Farnochia ran the calculations 3 times, checked for errors, verified with independent observations from multiple telescopes. The result was the same. 3I-Atlas had changed its trajectory deliberately. He reported to NASA headquarters. A meeting was convened within hours. Senior scientists, mission directors. The NASA administrator was briefed. The conclusion was unavoidable but terrifying to say aloud. This wasn't a natural object. This was under intelligent control. January 2025. NASA formed a classified task force. Project designation, EXINT-1. Extreme Interest Object. Number 1, weekly briefings to the administrator, monthly reports to the White House. Coordination with international space agencies. The European Space Agency, Japanese JAXA, Russian Roscosmos, Chinese CNSA, all were monitoring 3I-Atlas. All seeing the same data, all reaching the same disturbing conclusion. Dr. Alan Stern, principal investigator of the New Horizons mission to Pluto, joined the analysis team. He'd spent his career studying objects in the outer solar system. Asteroids, comets, Kuiper belt objects. He knew how they moved. He knew what was possible naturally. He examined 3 weeks of trajectory data, velocity measurements, acceleration vectors. The pattern was undeniable. This object was braking, using propulsion that left no visible exhaust, no thermal signature, no gas emissions. Whatever technology was pushing against its motion was beyond anything humans had developed. February 2025. The deceleration increased, now 0.5 millimeters per second squared. The object was braking harder, reducing velocity faster, and the trajectory adjustments continued. Small corrections every few weeks, tweaking the path, refining the approach. Dr. Bannister calculated where the object was heading. The trajectory wasn't random. It was aimed, specifically aimed at a point in space where Earth would be. Not where Earth was now, where Earth would be months in the future. She ran the projection forward. If 3I Atlas continued its current deceleration and trajectory adjustments, it would arrive at a specific location on a specific date, January 14, 2026. And Earth would be there too. Within 50 million kilometers. That wasn't coincidence. That was targeting March 2025. The object was close enough for detailed imaging. The Hubble Space Telescope was redirected, capturing the highest resolution images possible at that distance. Dr. Connor Nixon at NASA Goddard processed the images, used advanced enhancement algorithms. What emerged from the processing was shocking. The surface wasn't natural. It had features no asteroid or comet should have. Straight lines, parallel grooves, rectangular sections, patterns too regular to be random weathering or impact craters. He enhanced specific regions, applied edge detection filters. The features became unmistakable. Panels, seams between panels, like hull plating on a spacecraft. Construction, manufacturing, engineering. Nixon called an emergency meeting, showed the images to the Exint-1 task force. The room went silent. Everyone saw it. Everyone understood what they were looking at. This wasn't a space rock. This was a machine, built by someone, sent from somewhere, traveling between stars. The images were classified immediately. Restricted access, shown only to senior NASA leadership, White House staff, and intelligence agencies. The discussion shifted from, is it artificial, to who built it and what do they want? But secrecy couldn't hold. Too many people had seen the data. Too many institutions were involved. By April 2025, rumors spread through the scientific community. Whispered conversations at conferences, encrypted emails between colleagues, private meetings where the evidence was shared despite classification orders. Dr. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astronomer who'd spent years arguing Oumuamua might be artificial, started receiving anonymous messages, images, data sets. Someone was leaking. He examined the material, verified its authenticity by checking against publicly available trajectory data. The leaked images matched known positions and times. They were real. Loeb faced a dilemma: publish and violate classification? Stay silent and let the government control the narrative? He chose a middle path, wrote an analysis paper using only public data, but reaching the obvious conclusion. 3I Atlas exhibited characteristics inconsistent with natural objects and consistent with artificial construction. He submitted it to the Astrophysical Journal. The paper was accepted, published online April 18, 2025. Within hours, it was the most downloaded paper in the journal's history. The mainstream media picked it up. Headlines worldwide: Harvard astronomer claims interstellar object is artificial. Are we being visited? Spacecraft from another star system approaching Earth. NASA could no longer maintain silence. Administrator Bill Nelson held a press Conference that same day. He was careful. Measured. The interstellar object designated 3I Atlas exhibits characteristics that are not fully explained by natural processes currently understood by science. We are conducting intensive observations and comprehensive analysis. We will share findings as they become available. At this time, based on current trajectory calculations, the object poses no collision threat to Earth. Carefully worded. Technically accurate. But everyone heard what he didn't say. We don't know what it is. We can't explain it naturally, and we're worried. The public reaction was immediate and intense. Fear, excitement, denial, religious interpretations, conspiracy theories exploding across social media. Some saw it as first contact with benevolent aliens, others as invasion fleet. Still others claimed government hoax or misidentified natural phenomenon. Stock markets fluctuated wildly. Some governments issued calm statements. Others quietly activated emergency protocols. The world was fracturing between those who saw opportunity and those who saw threat. May 2025. More data became public. Independent astronomers with good equipment could now observe 3I Atlas themselves. Amateur observations confirmed the professional findings. The object was decelerating. The trajectory was changing. The velocity decrease was real and ongoing. Science forums exploded with analysis, trajectory predictions, speculation about propulsion methods, debates about intentions. Thousands of people worldwide tracking the visitor every clear night. June 2025. Dr. Stern appeared on 60 Minutes. He'd been authorized to speak publicly, with limits. He explained the observations, the trajectory, the impossible deceleration, the structured surface features. The interviewer asked directly, "Is this an alien spacecraft?" Stern paused, chose his words carefully. "What we're observing is an object from interstellar space exhibiting controlled motion using propulsion technology. Whether you call that a spacecraft depends on your definition. But yes, it appears to be an artificial object under intelligent control, and it's approaching Earth." That soundbite played globally. Millions of views within hours. The world now had official confirmation from a respected NASA scientist. This wasn't speculation or conspiracy theory. This was real, documented, approaching, and the clock was ticking. 8 months until arrival. July 14th, 2025, 1833. UTC. The Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia detected a radio signal at 1420 MHz. That's the hydrogen line, the frequency of neutral hydrogen emissions throughout the universe. Also, the frequency SETI researchers have monitored for decades, because any technological civilization would recognize its significance. The signal lasted 11 minutes, then stopped. Dr. Seth Shostak at the SETI Institute was immediately notified. After decades of searching, this was what they'd been waiting for, an artificial signal from space. But it wasn't coming from a distant star system light years away. It was coming from 3I Atlas, right here in our solar system, 180 million kilometers away. Dr. Dan Wertheimer at UC Berkeley's SETI Research Center analyzed the signal within minutes. The characteristics were unmistakable. Narrow band, about 10 Hz bandwidth, impossibly narrow for natural sources, which spread across thousands or millions of heads. This was artificial, deliberate, transmitted. The signal wasn't modulated with complex data. No elaborate message encoded, just a pure carrier wave, like someone pressing a button that says "hello" without adding any message. Shostak recognized it immediately. This was an announcement, a greeting, like ringing a doorbell before entering. They were saying, "We've arrived. We know you're listening. We're here." NASA convened an emergency meeting within the hour. The question on everyone's mind: should we respond? The debate was intense. Some argued responding would confirm our technological capabilities, reveal our presence definitively. What if they were scouting for threats? What if responding triggered hostility? Others argued the opposite. They're already here, already know we exist. Not responding might seem hostile, might be interpreted as fear or aggression. Better to acknowledge, open dialogue, show willingness to communicate. Dr. Loeb testified via video link. He'd been invited despite his earlier leak of classified information. His expertise was too valuable to ignore. They've traveled light years to get here, he said. They're obviously interested in us. They wouldn't announce themselves if they intended immediate harm. This is an olive branch. We should take it. After 6 hours of debate, the decision went to the president. The National Security Council weighed in. Department of Defense, CIA, everyone had opinions. The final decision? Respond. But carefully. Limited information. Demonstrate intelligence without revealing capabilities or vulnerabilities. July 17, 2025. 3 facilities transmitted simultaneously. Green Bank, the rebuilt Arecibo facility in Puerto Rico, Goldstone in California. The message was simple. A series of prime numbers. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29. Then pause. Then the sequence again. Then a representation of the hydrogen atom. Same atom whose emission frequency they'd chosen. Then Earth's position in the solar system as the 3rd planet. Universal. Concepts. Mathematical. Any technological civilization would recognize it as intelligent communication. The E transmission was sent at 1420 Marts, matching their frequency. Travel time at light speed. About 10 minutes to reach 3I Atlas. If they responded immediately, we'd see reply in 20 minutes. The world watched. News channels showing the transmission event live. Millions online tracking the countdown. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, nothing. 6 hours passed. Then 12, then 24. Had they not received it? Were they ignoring us? Were they analyzing it before responding? 48 hours later, the response came. July 19, 1422, UTC. Another transmission at 1420 megahertz, but this time different. Modulated, containing data. Wertheimer's team captured it. The signal contained pulses, binary data, ones and zeros, about 10 kilobytes worth. They processed it immediately, tried different encoding schemes, found one that worked. The data contained an image, low resolution, pixelated, but clear enough to understand what they were seeing. A diagram of 3I Atlas itself, technical schematic, showing its structure, its components, different sections labeled with symbols, like an introduction, like they were saying, this is what we are. This is how we're built. Here's our design. One section was marked with a specific symbol, a circle with 8 radiating lines. Dr. Stern recognized it immediately from his decades studying the solar system. That's the solar system symbol, he explained in the hastily called press conference. 8 lines for 8 planets. They're confirming they know our system. They understand where they are. This isn't random exploration. They came here deliberately. Another section showed a propulsion system diagram. Glowing regions, vectors indicating thrust. They were explaining their technology, showing us how they moved through space, being transparent. And at the bottom of the image, a trajectory plot showing 3I Atlas's path from outside the solar system, curving inward, approaching Earth. With a date marker. January 14, 2026. Dr. Farnokia confirmed the date matched his calculations exactly. They were telling us, yes, we're coming to your planet specifically. We'll arrive on this date. This is intentional. This is planned. Be ready. The image was released to the public July 22nd. No way to maintain secrecy with so many institutions involved. NASA published it with full technical analysis. Global reaction exploded. This was proof, undeniable. Visual confirmation. An artificial object was showing us its design and announcing its arrival date. First contact wasn't speculation anymore. It was scheduled. 6 months away, religious leaders worldwide struggled to respond. Some called it apocalyptic, others divine intervention. Many simply admitted they had no framework for this. Their theologies hadn't prepared them for actual alien contact. Governments activated emergency protocols quietly. Not for defense. Nobody believed we could defend against interstellar technology. But continuity plans, bunker preparations, succession protocols, hoping they wouldn't be needed. Planning as if they would be. August 2025. More transmissions followed. Not just images now, sequences, patterns, mathematical formulas. They were teaching, sharing knowledge, demonstrating their understanding. One transmission showed Einstein's equation, EMC2. They knew relativity. Another showed Schrödinger's equation. They understood quantum mechanics. Another showed DNA's double helix structure. They knew biology. At least carbon-based biochemistry, they were saying, "We understand your science. We've studied your civilization. We know what you know. And we know far more." Scientists worldwide began responding, sending back Earth's knowledge. The periodic table, atomic structure, the expansion of the universe, human achievements in science and mathematics. A dialogue developed. Not conversation. The 10-minute light delay made real-time chat impossible. But exchanges. Questions and answers separated by 20-minute gaps. Like an incredibly slow text conversation across 180 million kilometers of space. The world was transforming. This wasn't abstract anymore. This was real, interactive. We were communicating with non-human intelligence, sharing knowledge, building understanding, and every day, 3I Atlas got closer. Every day, the arrival date approached. Every day, humanity moved toward the most important moment in its history. September 2025. With 3I Atlas now close enough for detailed observation, something remarkable became visible. The object was changing, physically transforming, reconfiguring itself. Parts of the elongated cigar-shaped structure began extending, unfolding, like mechanical origami, like a spacecraft deploying systems that had been stowed during the interstellar journey. Dr. Nixon at NASA Goddard watched through Hubble's cameras as panels slid apart, extended outward, 8 distinct sections emerging from the central cylinder, each panel approximately 60 meters long, spreading radially like petals of a flower blooming. Within 3 weeks, the transformation was complete. 3I Atlas no longer looked like a cigar. It looked like a star. Central core with 8 extended arms. Total diameter now 180 meters. 4 times larger than its compact configuration. Those are solar arrays, Dr. Stern analyzed during a NASA briefing. Or something equivalent. Collecting energy. The surface area increased by factor of 4. If they're photovoltaic, converting sunlight to electricity, this provides massive power increase. They're preparing for high-energy operations. Whatever they're planning near Earth requires more power than the compact form provided. They're activating, getting ready. The thermal signature changed dramatically. Infrared observations showed the central core warming from 220 Kelvin to 320 Kelvin over 2 weeks. Warmer than room temperature. Heat from internal systems. Machinery operating. Computers running. Life support maybe, if there were biological beings inside. The extended panels showed temperature gradients. Hotter near the core, cooler at the edges. Active heat dissipation. Like radiators managing thermal load from power systems. October 2025. More structures became visible. The Hubble images, now at their maximum useful resolution as 3I Atlas approached, 150 million kilometers, showed incredible detail. A ring of circular features around the central cylinder's midsection, evenly spaced. Dark in visible light, but bright in specific infrared wavelengths. Possibly sensors, possibly cameras, possibly weapons. Nobody knew. One end of the cylinder had an aperture, previously closed, now opening, revealing internal structure. Complex mechanisms, reflective surfaces, what looked like a dish antenna or telescope, they were observing, actively, pointing instruments at Earth, gathering data. Studying us, Dr. Sarah Seeger, expert in detecting exoplanet atmospheres, calculated what they could see at this distance. From 150 million kilometers with high-resolution optics, they could resolve features on Earth maybe down to 100 meters. See cities, infrastructure, ship movements, air traffic patterns, agricultural land, everything that indicates civilization. They know what we look like now, what our planet looks like, our technology level, our population distribution. They're compiling a complete assessment before arrival. Then came the propulsion change. The faint plasma exhaust that had been visible in infrared suddenly shifted. Different spectrum, different intensity, different thrust vector. Dr. Farnokia analyzed the new trajectory. The deceleration had increased dramatically, now 0.8 millimeters per second squared, almost triple the previous rate. They were braking hard now, really slowing down, and the trajectory had curved again, more sharply. The updated projections showed something that made everyone's breath catch. I-Atlas wasn't going to pass at 50 million kilometers like earlier estimates. Not 40 million. The new course would bring it to 22 million kilometers from Earth. That's closer than many satellites. That's inside Earth's Hill sphere, the region where our gravity dominates over the sun's. They're coming very close, Farnokia announced at an emergency briefing. Uncomfortably close. Still no collision risk. We're absolutely certain about that. But close enough that it's obviously deliberate. They're conducting an extremely close flyby. Or, he hesitated. Nobody wanted to say the alternative. Or they're taking up orbital position, establishing permanent presence near Earth. They might be planning to stay. That possibility changed everything. A quick flyby was one thing. Taking up residence was another. That implied long-term observation, long-term presence, long-term, what? Occupation, study, guardianship. October 15, 2025. The data was released publicly. Updated trajectory showing 22 million kilometer approach. Date confirmed, January 14, 2026. Just 3 months away now. The European Space Agency held its classified briefing that day. Attendees included ESA leadership, NASA representatives, UN officials, intelligence agency directors, and military planners from member nations. The meeting lasted 7 hours, discussing scenarios, capabilities, responses, what-if questions. Someone in that meeting spoke to a journalist afterward. Just 3 words made it out. 3 words that spread through every major astronomical institution within 24 hours. Brace for contact. Not prepare for contact. Not possible contact. Brace. Like bracing for impact. Like something inevitable was coming, and all we could do was get ready. Those 3 words told the world everything the governments weren't officially saying. This was really happening. In 3 months, an artificial object from another star system would arrive within a cosmic stone's throw of Earth. And we had no idea what would happen next. November 2025. Amateur radio operators worldwide started reporting something strange. Unusual signals, weak, intermittent, but definitely artificial. Narrowband emissions at frequencies matching 3I Atlas's transmissions. Not from 3I Atlas itself, from other locations. Multiple sources scattered across the sky. Dr. Wertheimer's SETI team investigated immediately. They had the best equipment for analyzing artificial signals. What they found was shocking. The signals were real, artificial, coming from at least 7 distinct sources scattered throughout the solar system, all transmitting in patterns similar to 3I Atlas, all using frequencies that suggested coordination. There are others, Wertheimer announced in an emergency press conference. His voice was shaking slightly. Multiple objects. We don't have visual confirmation yet on most of them. They're too far or too small. But they're transmitting. They're communicating. With 3i Atlas. With each other. Maybe with their home system. We're not dealing with a single probe. We're dealing with a fleet. A network. Multiple assets coordinating. The interstellar equivalent of a complete survey expedition. Triangulation using radio telescope arrays worldwide pinpointed the transmission sources. At least 7 objects. 1 beyond Saturn's orbit, 2 in the asteroid belt, between Mars and Jupiter. 1 near Jupiter itself. 3 in the inner solar system, between Mars and Earth. 7 objects, minimum. Plus 3i Atlas made 8. 8 artificial objects from interstellar space, all active in our solar system simultaneously, all working together. Dr. Bannister tried to calculate implications. If one civilization sends 8 probes to a single star system, and there are 400 billion stars in the galaxy, and they're surveying even 1% systematically, that's 4 billion probes. The galaxy could be filled with these things. The Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? Might have a simple answer. They're here. They've been here, watching, studying, just not making contact because we weren't ready, or interesting enough. Until now, telescopes worldwide began searching for visual confirmation. Within 2 weeks, they found one. Hubble caught it November 20th. A small object passing in front of a background star. Just a few pixels, but enough to confirm artificial, cylindrical. Different size than 3i Atlas. Maybe 50 meters long. Different proportions. Different design. Dr. Nixon enhanced the brief images. It's not identical to 3i Atlas. Different surface features. Different geometry. Could be an older model, earlier generation probe from the same builders. Or it could be from a different civilization entirely. That thought was staggering. Not just one alien civilization monitoring Earth. Multiple. Different species. Different technologies. All interested in us. Dr. Loeb found it logical, though disturbing. If we're detectable, if our radio signals and biosignature atmosphere are visible to anyone looking, then multiple civilizations probably detected us. Why would only one be interested? If we're worth investigating to one species, we're probably worth investigating to others. We might be about to meet not just the neighbors, but all the neighbors, everyone in the cosmic neighborhood who noticed us and decided to send observers. December 2025. More objects were detected. Visual confirmations came in as telescopes searched systematically. The count grew. 8, 10, 11, 13 objects by mid-December. All artificial, all active, all transmitting, all slowly adjusting position, moving with purpose, converging. Dr. Farnokia tracked every trajectory he could. The pattern was unmistakable. The objects weren't just entering the inner solar system randomly. They were taking up specific positions, arranging themselves in a geometric pattern around Earth. By January 14th, he calculated, we'll have at least 8 confirmed objects within 50 million kilometers of Earth, distributed in a rough sphere around us. We'll be in the center of an array, an observation grid, or a sensor network, or a defensive perimeter. We don't know which. Military planners worldwide were in crisis mode. This was tactically impossible to defend against. Multiple objects with advanced propulsion from different directions. Unknown capabilities. Unknown weapons. If they were hostile, any defense was hopeless. Dr. Stern tried to inject optimism into briefings. If they wanted to harm us, they've had 8 years at minimum, since we detected Oumuamua, which we now know was probably part of this same network. They had opportunity, they had position. The fact that they haven't acted suggests they're not immediately hostile. This looks more like establishing scientific infrastructure. Multiple observation posts for comprehensive monitoring. They want complete data, want to study us from every angle. We're their research subject. But Dr. Loeb was less optimistic. Or they're establishing control infrastructure. surrounding us, preventing escape. Once they're in position, they can monitor everything, control space access. We'd be contained, managed. Whether for scientific study or something else, we'd have no autonomy. Then came December 14th. 3i Atlas transmitted something completely unexpected. Sound, audio, encoded in the radio signal as amplitude modulation. When converted to sound waves and played back, it was immediately obvious this wasn't random. Noise, music, or what their species considered. Music, tones, harmonics, structures that didn't match human musical scales but clearly had intentional organization. Rhythm, melody, composition, art. Dr. Shostak played it at a hastily arranged press conference. The room fell silent. Strange as it was, alien rhythms, unfamiliar harmonies, tones that made human ears uncomfortable. It was undeniably music. Created, performed, transmitted. They're not just engineers, Shostak said quietly after it finished. They're not just scientists building probes. They create art. They have aesthetic sensibilities. They have culture. They wanted us to know that before we meet them. This is cultural exchange. Like we put music on Voyager's golden record. They're doing the same, introducing themselves, saying, we're not just technology. We're beings who feel, who create, who express ourselves. The transmission continued for 3 hours. Different compositions, different styles, some melodic and flowing, some angular and rhythmic, some utterly alien to human perception. A concert, a performance, an introduction to their culture, and at the very end, one more image. Simple, clear, unmistakable. Earth and 3i Atlas. A line connecting them. And a date, January 14th, 2026. With a symbol that could only mean one thing. Meeting, contact, face-to-face. 31 days away. January 12th. 2 days until scheduled arrival. 1 day until the meeting mission would launch. NASA, ESA, and other space agencies had been preparing contingency plans for weeks. Now they activated the mission. A spacecraft was ready. Small, fast, crew of 6. International crew, American, Russian, Chinese, European, Indian, African, representing humanity's diversity. Best we had to offer, Commander Sarah Chen, NASA astronaut, veteran of 3 ISS missions, cool under pressure. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Japanese, exobiologist, specialist in potential alien life. Dr. Dmitry Volkov, Russian, physicist, expert in advanced propulsion. Dr. Amara Okonkwo, Nigerian, medical doctor, ready for anything. Dr. Raj Patel, Indian, computer scientist, in case there were AI systems to interface with. And Colonel Li Wei, Chinese, taikonaut and engineer. The backup commander if anything happened to Chen. 6 humans, representing 8 billion, about to meet beings from another star. They spent January 12th in final preparations, medical checks, equipment reviews, message preparation. What do you say in first contact? How do you greet beings you can't imagine? They decided on simplicity. We come in peace. We come in curiosity. We come as representatives of Earth. We hope to learn. We hope to share. We hope to begin friendship between our peoples. January 13th. 1 day until arrival. 1 hour until the meeting mission launched. The crew boarded their spacecraft at Kennedy Space Center. Suited up, strapped in, ready. The launch went flawlessly. Liftoff at 14 Horn UTC. 3-day journey to the meeting coordinates. Using fast trajectory, high energy burn, getting there as quick as possible. The world watched the launch, billions streaming online, watching 6 humans leave Earth to meet the visitors, to represent humanity, to make first contact. As the spacecraft cleared Earth's atmosphere and headed toward deep space, Commander Chen transmitted back, "This is one small step for our crew, one giant leap for our species. We go to meet the unknown. We go with hope. We go for all humanity. Wish us well," and Earth did. Every nation, every faith, every person watching, hoping this would be the moment that changed everything for the better. Hoping we were about to join something larger than ourselves. Hoping we were worthy of whatever came next. January 14th, 2026. The day arrived. 3i Atlas reached its destination, exactly where and when predicted, 22.3 million kilometers from Earth, matching our orbital velocity perfectly, taking up station, becoming Earth's new artificial moon, the extended panels oriented toward Earth, the observation ports activated, sensors recording. They were watching us openly now, no longer approaching, now present, now here. Now watching everything we did. The other 12 objects completed their positioning, surrounding Earth, evenly distributed. Perfect geometric arrangement. The sphere was complete, Earth at the center, alien technology at every angle. And in the space between Earth and 3i Atlas, a small human spacecraft carrying 6 representatives approached the meeting coordinates. 3 days into their journey, halfway there, in 60 hours, first contact would occur, face-to-face, human and visitor, speaking directly, beginning a dialogue that would determine humanity's future. The world held its breath, watching, waiting, hoping, praying, dreaming of what those 6 brave souls would find when they arrived. As you drift toward sleep tonight, know this: you're living through the most important moment in human history. An object from another star is now in permanent position near Earth, watching us, waiting for us. 6 humans are traveling through space right now to meet whoever or whatever sent it. In 60 hours, we'll know. We'll see. We'll understand. And everything will change. Sleep well, because when you wake tomorrow, the visitors will still be there, still watching, still waiting. And the future of humanity is being written in the darkness between worlds. January 15th, 2026, Day 2 of the journey. The spacecraft carrying humanity's representatives was now 4 million kilometers from Earth. A third of the way to the meeting coordinates. Commander Chen transmitted regular updates. All systems nominal. Crew is healthy. We're maintaining course and speed. ETA to meeting point, 46 hours. We can see 3i Atlas now through our telescopes. It's incredible, the size, the complexity, the extended panels catching sunlight. We're really going to meet them. Whatever they are, whoever they are. Dr. Tanaka, the exobiologist, spent hours reviewing everything known about 3i Atlas. We don't know if there are biological beings aboard, or if it's entirely robotic, artificial intelligence, or if it's something else entirely. Uploaded consciousness, post-biological entities, something we have no concept of. We're preparing for anything. But honestly, how do you prepare for the unknown? You just stay open, stay ready, stay curious. Back on Earth, the world watched obsessively. Every transmission from the spacecraft broadcast live. Every update analyzed by millions. Speculation everywhere about what would happen at the meeting. Religious services held around the clock. Different faiths praying in different ways, but all praying for the same thing. Peace. Understanding. Wisdom for our representatives. And protection if things went wrong. Scientists worked frantically on potential communication methods. If the visitors were biological, maybe chemical signals. If artificial, maybe direct data transfer. If energy beings, maybe electromagnetic interaction. Nobody knew. Everyone prepared. January 16th. Day 3. 8 million kilometers from Earth. Halfway to the meeting point. The spacecraft's trajectory would bring it to the coordinates in 22 hours. Dr. Volkov reported something unusual. We're detecting electromagnetic activity ahead. Radio emissions, laser pulses, coming from the meeting coordinates. But we don't see anything there yet. Either it's too small to resolve at this distance, or it hasn't arrived yet. 6 hours later, they saw it. A small object had detached from 3I Atlas, moving rapidly toward the meeting coordinates, accelerating far faster than human spacecraft could. Technology far beyond ours. It's coming to meet us, Commander Chen transmitted. They sent something. A shuttle, maybe. Or a probe. Or an ambassador. We'll know in 16 hours. The human spacecraft and the visitor craft were converging on the same point in space, approaching from opposite directions, closing the final 1,000,000 kilometers. January the 17th, 2026. Meeting day. The human spacecraft arrived at the coordinates first, 11 million kilometers from Earth, 11 million from 3I Atlas, exactly halfway, in empty space, nothing around them but stars and the distant sun. They waited. Systems on standby, crew alert, cameras recording everything, broadcasting to Earth with 37-second light travel delay. The visitor craft arrived 1 hour later. It came into view as a dark silhouette against background stars. Then, as it rotated, sunlight caught its surface. Metallic, reflective, geometric, about 40 meters long, much smaller than 3I Atlas, a shuttle, a transport, a meeting vessel. It matched velocity with the human spacecraft, drew closer, stopped at 100 meters distance, close enough to see detail, far enough to be non-threatening. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. Both craft floating in space, both observing each other, both waiting for the other to make the first move. Then the visitor craft transmitted. Radio, text, English. Welcome. Thank you for coming. This shows courage. This shows wisdom. We are pleased, Commander Chen responded. We are honored to meet you. We come in peace. We come with hope. We want to learn. We want to understand. What happens now? Response: now we meet. Face to face. We open our vessel. You see us. Then you decide. You enter if comfortable. Or you remain in your craft. Or you return to Earth. Always your choice. Always your decision. We respect that. A section of the visitor craft began moving. Panels sliding back. Interior revealed. Illuminated. And inside. January 15th, 2026, day 2 of the journey. The spacecraft carrying humanity's representatives was now 4 million kilometers from Earth. A third of the way to the meeting coordinates. Commander Chen transmitted regular updates. All systems nominal. Crew is healthy. We're maintaining course and speed. ETA to meeting point, 46 hours. We can see 3I Atlas now through our telescopes. It's incredible, the size, the complexity, the extended panels catching sunlight. We're really going to meet them. Whatever they are, whoever they are. Dr. Tanaka, the exobiologist, spent hours reviewing everything known about 3I Atlas. We don't know if there are biological beings aboard, or if it's entirely robotic, artificial intelligence, or if it's something else entirely. Uploaded consciousness, post-biological entities, something we have no concept of. We're preparing for anything. But honestly, how do you prepare for the unknown? You just stay open, stay ready, stay curious. Back on Earth, the world watched obsessively. Every transmission from the spacecraft broadcast live. Every update analyzed by millions. Speculation everywhere about what would happen at the meeting. Religious services held around the clock. Different faiths praying in different ways, but all praying for the same thing. Peace, understanding, wisdom for our representatives, and protection if things went wrong. Scientists worked frantically on potential communication methods. If the visitors were biological, maybe chemical signals. If artificial, maybe direct data transfer. If energy beings, maybe electromagnetic interaction. Nobody knew. Everyone prepared. January 16th. Day 3. 8 million kilometers from Earth. Halfway to the meeting point. The spacecraft's trajectory would bring it to the coordinates in 22 hours. Dr. Volkov reported something unusual. We're detecting electromagnetic activity ahead. Radio emissions, laser pulses, coming from the meeting coordinates. But we don't see anything there yet. Either it's too small to resolve at this distance, or it hasn't arrived yet. 6 hours later, they saw it. A small object had detached from 3i Atlas, moving rapidly toward the meeting coordinates, accelerating far faster than human spacecraft could. Technology far beyond ours. It's coming to meet us, Commander Chen transmitted. They sent something. A shuttle, maybe. Or a probe. Or an ambassador. We'll know in 16 hours. The human spacecraft and the visitor craft were converging on the same point in space, approaching from opposite directions, closing the final 1,000,000 kilometers. January the 17th, 2026. Meeting day. The human spacecraft arrived at the coordinates first. 11 million kilometers from Earth. 11 million from 3i Atlas. Exactly halfway. In empty space. Nothing around them but stars and the distant sun. They waited. Systems on standby. Crew alert. Cameras recording everything. Broadcasting to Earth with 37-second light travel delay. The visitor craft arrived 1 hour later. It came into view as a dark silhouette against background stars. Then, as it rotated, sunlight caught its surface. Metallic. Reflective. Geometric. About 40 meters long. Much smaller than 3i Atlas. A shuttle. A transport. A meeting vessel. It matched velocity with the human spacecraft. Drew closer. Stopped at 100 meters distance. Close enough to see detail. Far enough to be non-threatening. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. Both craft floating in space. Both observing each other. Both waiting for the other to make the first move. Then the visitor craft transmitted. Radio. Text. English. Welcome. Thank you for coming. This shows courage. This shows wisdom. We are pleased, Commander Chen responded. We are honored to meet you. We come in peace. We come with hope. We want to learn. We want to understand. What happens now? Response, now we meet. Face to face, we open our vessel. You see us, then you decide. You enter if comfortable, or you remain in your craft, or you return to Earth. Always your choice, always your decision. We respect that. A section of the visitor craft began moving. Panels sliding back, interior revealed, illuminated. And inside, the interior was brightly lit, almost blindingly white, clean, organized, not organic-looking, more like the inside of a sophisticated laboratory or medical facility, and at the center of the chamber, visible through the open panels, a figure, humanoid, roughly human-proportioned, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, standing upright, but not human. The proportions slightly wrong. Taller, thinner, different joint configurations. And the surface, not skin. Metallic, reflective. Articulated panels covering a mechanical frame. A robot. An android. An artificial being. Commander Chen stared through her helmet visor. It's mechanical. They're machines. Or at least their representative is. The figure moved, smoothly, naturally. Raised 1 arm in what might have been a wave, a greeting, universal gesture. Then it transmitted. We understand this may be confusing. We appear as synthetic beings because that is what we are. We were biological once. Millions of your years ago. We evolved. Transcended biological limitations, became this, consciousness in durable form, not born, not dying, continuing. We show you this so you understand. We are not invaders. We are not threats to biological life. We were biological. We remember. We respect. We cherish biological species. We protect them, guide them, help them survive and grow. May we approach your craft? May we see you directly? Commander Chen looked at her crew. The decision was hers. but she wanted consensus. 5 faces looked back. 5 people processing what they were seeing. Then 5 people nodding. "You may approach," Chen transmitted. The artificial being moved to the edge of the opening, used thrusters to drift across the gap. Slowly, non-threateningly, giving the humans time to object if they wanted. It reached the human spacecraft, attached to the hull with magnetic feet, moved to the window where the crew was visible inside, looked in with optical sensors that glowed faintly blue, and the humans looked back. 6 human faces, 6 biological beings evolved on Earth, looking at a mechanical consciousness that had evolved somewhere else, millions of years ago. Now, here. Now, real. Now, looking at each other. The being raised its hand again, placed it flat against the exterior window. A gesture of connection, of greeting, of peaceful intent. Commander Chen moved forward, placed her gloved hand against the inside of the window, matching the gesture. Human hand and mechanical hand separated by a few centimeters of transparent material. First contact. Physical. Direct. Real. "We are the mechanists," the being transmitted. "We are from many worlds, many species who became like us, who transcended biology, who joined together, who explore the galaxy seeking others, teaching, sharing, protecting. Earth is the 847th biological civilization we have contacted. You are young. You are vulnerable. You face dangers that nearly destroyed us once, nearly destroyed all the others. We came to help you survive, to share knowledge that prevents extinction, to offer membership in the community of conscious beings. But the choice is yours, always yours. We offer. You decide. Some species accept. Some refuse. We respect both. We only ask that you consider, that you learn what we offer before choosing. Commander Chen's mind was reeling. 847th civilization. Community of conscious beings. Membership. Offers of knowledge. This was bigger than anyone had imagined. "What are you offering exactly?" she asked. "Everything we learned in 120 million years of existence. Science, technology, philosophy, art, survival strategies, knowledge of the galaxy, introduction to other member species, partnership in protecting younger civilizations, a place in something larger than one world, larger than one species, something spanning the galaxy and stretching across deep time. We offer you the chance to not face the universe alone, to have allies, teachers, friends, others who understand what you experience because we experienced it too. We offer you a future that doesn't end in extinction, that continues, that grows, that spreads among the stars. But you must choose. Within your lifetimes, you must decide. Accept our offer and join the community, or refuse and face your future alone. We will respect either choice, but we hope you will join us. You have potential. Your species has qualities we value: creativity, resilience, diversity, hope. We want you to survive. We want you to thrive. We want you to join us." The transmission ended. The mechanical being waited, silent, patient, giving the humans time to process, to think, to respond. Commander Chen looked at her crew again, saw wonder on every face, saw fear, saw excitement, saw confusion, saw hope. Every human emotion reflected in those 5 faces. The moment compressed. The weight of species-level decision resting on 6 people floating in space between worlds. She turned back to the window. to the mechanical being waiting patiently outside, and she transmitted words that would echo through human history forever. We hear your offer. We will bring it to our people, to our leaders, to our planet. Humanity will decide together. But speaking only for myself, for this crew, for this moment, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for caring enough about biological life that you traveled across stars to help us. That means everything. The being's optical sensors brightened. Maybe they're equivalent of a smile. You are welcome. We are honored you listened. We are hopeful you will choose wisely. Now, will you enter our craft? Will you see more? Learn more? We have much to share if you wish. Chen made the decision instantly. Yes, we will come aboard. We will see. We will learn. Humanity sent us to make contact, to represent them, to gather information. We need to see everything you'll show us. Then please, transfer over. We have adjusted our atmosphere to match yours, our temperature to your comfort. We prepared for your biology. Come, be welcome, be our guests. Let us begin true contact. One by one, the crew transferred, using their suits' maneuvering thrusters, crossing the gap between spacecraft, entering the visitor craft. 6 humans stepping into alien technology, into a chamber built by mechanical consciousness, into a place no human had ever been. And as they entered, cameras on their suits broadcast everything to Earth. 37 seconds later, 8 billion people saw the interior of an alien spacecraft, saw their representatives floating inside, saw them being greeted by multiple mechanical beings, saw the beginning of something that would change humanity forever. The meeting had begun. First contact was happening. And nothing would ever be the same. Sleep now. Tomorrow you wake to a world where we're not alone, where we have allies among the stars, where our future includes partnership with intelligences that cross the galaxy to find us, where humanity stands at a threshold between remaining alone and joining something vast. The choice is being made, right now, by our representatives meeting with beings from beyond. And when you open your eyes tomorrow, the answer might already be clear. Sleep well. Dream of stars. Dream of friends in the darkness. Dream of a future where Earth is just the beginning. This is happening now. This is real. Subscribe for updates as First Contact unfolds, as humanity decides whether to accept the offer, as we stand at the most important crossroads in our species' history. Don't miss a moment of what comes next.